Hello participants, welcome to Module 1-3. In this presentation, I will present features and contents of the National Textbook and the Teacher's Manual. This presentation is in 3 parts. Firstly, we are going to look at the composition of the Science National Textbook. Then we are going to look at the composition of the Teacher's Manual. And thirdly, we are going to view a video. By the end of this module, participants, you are expected to 1. Understand the composition of the National Science Textbook. 2. Understand the composition of the Science Teacher's Manual. And number 3, identify the characteristics of teaching science using the inquiry-based approach in the video lesson. Firstly, before we look at the composition of the science textbook, as a classroom teacher, what are some challenges that you have encountered while teaching science? Please feel free to express yourself. I hope you have given good responses. Now, we are going to look at the composition of the science textbook. The composition of the new textbook. We are going to look at the features of the textbook, the symbols used in the textbook, the table of contents, and the contents. Contents consist of 2 parts, the main contents, and secondly, the review. Introducing some of our friends, that symbols that are used in the textbook. In the textbook, we use these following characters. We have Mero, Naiko, Sare, Gawi, Kekeni, Ambai, Vawi, Yamo, Kokomo, and the couple. We also use some universal signs or symbols. This indicates the activity. This indicates discussion questions in which students are going to discuss among themselves. This caution and warning sign, and then we have the key question. Now, you can see a sample of a textbook. We are going to look at the textbook and the different parts in the textbook. Firstly, we have the chapter title. Then we have the lesson title as shown, the introduction, and then the key question, the activity title, and then the materials used in the activity. Learning points that will provoke student learning. We have some discussion points, the summary, and some challenge questions. Now we are going to look at the scientific inquiry method in which it is used in the textbook. Firstly, we have wonder or question. So many times students come with a lot of questions, and in the textbook we have a section which introduces the key question. Then students are allowed to do the activity where they have to understand the steps and follow the steps in order to achieve some results. And thirdly, they will come up with results. And finally, they summarize the lesson by providing what they have learned in the lesson. Also in the textbook, we have review pages. Review pages are a set of activities that summarizes the chapter. Also in the textbook, we have the exercise page. Okay. You will also find column pages and chapter tests. Now, participants, I have some activities for you to do. We are going to look at a sample of a textbook, and you are going to answer the following questions. What is the title of the lesson? 2. What is the key question of the lesson? 3. What kind of activity is it? Make a list of different materials that will be used in the activity. What is the discussion point of this lesson? What are the main ideas of this lesson? Welcome back, participants. The facilitator will help you to correct the activity. Now we are going to go to the second part of this module. We are going to look at the composition of the teacher manual. Now, I have a question. Why have a teacher manual? We have a teacher manual to guide teachers on how to teach a science lesson using the national textbook. A teacher manual promotes the lesson flow, which drives the standard and the benchmark of the lesson, which can be achieved at the end of the lesson or a unit. The teacher manual also provides necessary information for teachers to know before teaching the lesson. Now we are going to look at the teacher manual. In front of the screen, you can see an overview of the teacher manual. You will see that it explains the structure of the chapter, the introduction pages, and the content pages. It also shows how to conduct the science lesson by using the teacher manual, and it also highlights the overview of lessons. Now, we are going to look at each part of the teacher manual. Firstly, we will start off with the chapter introduction. The chapter introduction, it has the chapter objective, the topic objective, the chapter heading, related learning contents, and the teaching overview in the chapter. Chapter objective, these are the objectives to be achieved at the end of the chapter. Topic objective is to be achieved at the end of a lesson or a topic. Chapter heading, it has in the sample provided, it shows a picture related to the chapter and also the connection between the contents, which is shown in the related learning content. And far below, you have the teaching overview of the chapter. The composition of the teacher manual. Teacher manual consists of 8 different parts. Number 1, the basic lesson information. 2, preparation. 3, lesson objective. 4, assessment. 5, lesson flow. 6, teacher's note. 7, sample blackboard plan. And 8, textbook page of the lesson. Now, we are going to look at each part of the teacher manual. Basic lesson information. It shows the outline of the lesson in the curriculum. As shown in the slide, you have the unit name, the lesson number, chapter, and the topic name, and the total lesson and the textbook page. Number 2, preparation. It outlines necessary preparation to be done before the lesson, including teaching materials and apparatus to be used in the lesson. Thirdly, we have the lesson objectives. These are a set of knowledge and skills that should be achieved at the end of the lesson. Teachers should teach students to achieve these objectives and should check their achievement in the assessment part. Then we have the assessment. Teacher assesses students in the lesson by posing questions and receiving feedback from them. Assessment are described from 3 viewpoints: the knowledge, the skills, and attitude and values. Now, the lesson flow. Lesson flow sets the standard of the lesson. There are four main parts in the lesson flow. Number one, we have the introduction, which consists of the key question. Then we have the activity in which the students will do. Then we have the discussion, where they will discuss based on their findings. And fourth, we have the summary. The lesson flow. The lesson flow, we are going to look at the introduction or the key question. In the slide provided, you will see that lesson flow is indicated by numbers 1, 2, up to 4. For the introduction and the key question, it's indicated 1 and 2. Number 1, we have a set of activities that teachers need to do. So we have the review, which links from the previous lesson to the current lesson. Then we have the motivation part, in which teachers have to motivate their students. And then the key question is introduced. The activity, it outlines the procedures or steps to go about with the activity. Then we have the discussion. In the discussion part, students are encouraged to discuss based on their findings. Summary summarizes the lesson based on the findings from the activity and the discussion. Teacher's note. The teacher's note contains useful or supplementary information for the lesson. It also contains common misconceptions of students. It is very important for the teacher to read this section well before the lesson. Number 7, sample blackboard plan. The sample blackboard plan provided in the teacher manual outlines minimal example in which teachers should write their notes. It also contains the answers or opinions of the students. Sample blackboard plan provided in the teacher manual contains minimal example. Teachers should write students' answers or opinions on the blackboard. This will make it easy for students to see the flow of lesson from the introduction to the summary. Also, in the teacher manual, we have a sample copy of the lesson, so the teacher can easily identify what is written in the textbook and the teacher manual. Also, in the textbook sample, it indicates the flow of the lesson. So you will see numbers 1 to 5. In the science teacher manual, the scientific method is used. Now we are going to look at an example of a lesson, and we'll go through the different methods used. Firstly, you have the problem identification. Then the activity set. Before the students do the activity, they have to do the prediction. They have to express themselves, what they think. Then they do the investigation. After they do the investigation, they have to discuss and verify their findings. After verifying their findings, they will draw conclusion. This will lead to discovery of a new knowledge. Now participants, we have come to the end of the second part of this module. Now I have a set of activities for you to do. Let's look at a teacher manual, the teacher manual grade 4 topic 3-1, Lesson 2, Property of Air. Let's find out each part of the teacher's manual. What is the lesson objective? What are the necessary things to be prepared before the lesson? What knowledge, skills, attitude, and values are assessed? What is the main activity in the lesson flow? What are the things should the teacher be careful of during the lesson? What part of the blackboard should be written in advance? Welcome back, participants. I hope you have completed your activity. Your facilitator will assist you to correct the activity. Now we are going to go into the third part of this module, which is the viewing of the video. Before we view the video, I have certain questions. This set of questions you will answer after the video. What was the key question of the lesson? How did the teacher motivate the students to understand the task? What did the students do before the experiment? Did the students share their opinions? How? How did they conduct the experiment? Is the experiment suitable and appropriate for the content and the grade level? Why? How were the materials for the experiments given to the groups? What did the students do to find the answer to the question? What did they do when they got the result? What was their reaction? What kind of scientific concept was taught in this lesson? How did students find the scientific concept in this lesson? Could they apply the concept they found to the other example in the real world? How did the teacher help the students to consolidate what they learned in this lesson into a summary? Did the students observe the phenomena by themselves? Now we are going to view the video. Please pay close attention. Let's observe the video on grade 4 topic 3-1, lesson number 2, Property of Air 1.
Just depend to the size of the balloon.
It can be
Presley?
can be
Okay, the size gets bigger. Our activity, they are taking up space. Now, Harry just told us that air in this balloon made the size to get. But this time, I will introduce to some new materials. Okay, to see whether air take up space or not. Okay, so I have some questions here for you. Group, you are going to use this. Present in the container or not? Up here in front, you will see a very big container with water inside. Here I have a smaller one. Here I have a paper ribbon or paper tissue here. Okay. I have the tissue, the paper ribbon tissue in my container. Okay. Our question for the activity, if I put this one into the container of water, not. Quickly discuss it in your group, and I will add one answer from each group. Group 1, you may put this one in the water bottle. Will my tissue get wet or not? You discuss with your friend in your group. Don't in your group. Later I will ask for your answer, so you discuss. So your answer, either yes or no, but you must have a reason, so you discuss. Find out from your friend. Get your friend's view. If your answer is yes, you must have a reason to tell us why it's yes. If your group says it's no, that issue will get wet, you give me reason too. Why you think the tissue will get wet? Okay, let's have answers from each group. Okay, is it yes? Yes, because I put it into the water, so the water will come up and wet the tissue. You think the tissue will get wet or not? Wet or dry? Group 3. Wet. Wet. Say wet. Any other reason apart from this one? Wet or dry?
Wet.
Wet. Group 4? Wet. Any reason why? Sister Jessica? Because why? Then here, so I will invite each group to come up with your paper tissue and your container, and we are going to use this big container to test whether our tissue will get wet or not. Okay, I will call you group by group. So when you come, remember our answers are now, we are not really sure whether they are correct or not. So we are going to hide what we are doing from our friend. Only our group members will watch us. Are you with me? Yes. Okay, group 1, you come around here. Push it right to the bottom. Okay? Watch what your friend is doing, you watch. You watch and you must try to remember something. Okay? Okay? Stop straight and go right deep down and put it right in the bottom. Pull it down. And shake the container. Get your container, go back to your group and share what you have seen with your friend. Group 2, you come up. It's a secret. Don't let others see. You come. Make a nice circle here. So you and your friend will not know your answer. Straight down. Come around. Yes. Secure. Look at my hand. Straight down. Push it hard. Pull it up. Go like this. Hard. Okay. Touch your friend. What you have seen. Okay. What actually happened? Pull out your paper tissue and share.
I don't know. It's not working. I can look at it.
So, this container of water pasta, paper napkin did not get wet. Magic. Okay? Let's come back to our table here. Let's go back to our table. Okay, let's look at the answers. Now you are in trouble. Some of you said the paper napkin will get wet. Some of you said it won't. Let's look at the table here. Let's look at group 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, only one group said right. What group said wet? And the reason was because it's in the water. She will get wet. But what happened?
Magic. It wasn't magic.
It wasn't magic. Okay, it wasn't magic. That's super fine.
Because we tell that
wetting the container. That magic thing is in the container that stops the water from wetting the nappy. What's that magic thing? Tissue? Tissue is there. But what is the magic thing that stops the water? Oh, this one here. Really? Yes? We are getting there. We are getting there. What is the thing that stops the water from entering the container to wet the tissue? Get back to the balloon thing. Air. Okay, very good. The air is the magic thing that was in the container that stops the water from getting into it to wet the paper napkin, the tissue. Okay, good. On your desk, you will find this one here. Okay? This textbook. I'd like you to open to page 10. Can you see the picture of someone holding the container? Yes. Can you see how the container is placed? Yes. Let's start again. 1, 2. The tissue doesn't get wet due to air being in the cup or your container. Air and water cannot occupy the same space at the same time. Okay, so what do you think is in those balloons? Air. So you can see colored balloons floating in the air because the balloons contain air in it. That's why it's floating. The size is getting bigger. What's another green thing there?
Floater.
Floater. Okay, sometimes you use floaters that are aeroplanes, huh? Yes. Okay. Besides those 4 pictures, give me some examples. Give me some examples of things that contains air. Air occupies space, as we have found out. So give me some things. Looking at those 4 examples in the book, you name me some things that also contains air. Height? No. Height? The wind direction height. Any more? Something that you chew and you... Oh, big boy, bubble gum. Okay? Most of us like chewing. So after chewing, you try to blow it up. Okay? Oh, plastic. Very good. Plastic. Yes? You get the plastic, you shake it really hard, and you tie the mouth of the plastic, and you will have a balloon to get the bed. Very good. Okay. The amount of space that air takes up is the volume of the air. Air takes up space. Air takes up space. Nothing else can take the same space at the same time. You will see I have some lines here. Blank lines. Meaning that some words are missing. Example, something takes up space. Good. Air. So you will look for the right words to go into the blank space. Air takes up space. Is it correct? Yes. So air took the space inside, that's why water cannot go in. Good. hand, so let's try somebody else. Say the hand ready. We are correcting the first one here. Is it correct? Yes. Yes. Correct. Good. Okay. Air and water cannot take the same space. Is this correct?
Yes.
Is this correct?
Yes.
Somebody's saying no.
Yes.
It's correct. Okay. Air and water cannot take the same space at the same. Is it correct? Is it correct? Yes. Okay, let's read together. One, two. Good. Last one. Good. For the last time. Thank you. Okay. This brings us to the end of our lesson. Is it exciting? Yes. Did you enjoy the lesson? Yes or no? Which part of the lesson was very interesting? Blackboard, okay, the conclusion part. Yes, good. Oh, this experiment, we were going like this and out and shaking and pulling. It was very interesting. Others say this one was interesting. Very good. So that shows that you have learned something. Okay? And I thank you all for your participation in this science lesson, and hope we will do more experiments like this so you can know all the magics and tricks in science. Yes? That's so good.
Welcome back, participants. I hope you have enjoyed the video and answered the questions. Please complete the observation result and share your ideas with your groups. The summary for this module. So far, we have looked at the science textbook and the science teacher manual. The main features of the national textbook provide learning activities that create students' curiosity, indicate scientific methods so that students can acquire problem-solving skills. It's emphasized on expression and explanation. The main features of the teacher's manual is a daily tool for the teacher's lessons. It's easy to follow for teaching, well-considered lesson flow for realizing meaningful learning, strengthening pedagogical skills of teachers, understanding the important concepts and their reasons, and more emphasis on understanding concepts rather than being able to solve questions. Participants, this has brought us to the end of our module 1-3. Thank you all. Have a nice day.